Let me ask you something. When everyone else is posting stories from parties, rooftops, and weekend trips, are you secretly relieved you stayed home? And here's what's wild. You don't feel guilty about it. You feel good. Like, genuinely, deeply good. If that's you, stay with me, because what I'm about to tell you isn't just interesting. It's going to make you understand yourself in a way that nobody has ever explained to you before. You're not antisocial. You're something else entirely. The world has a label for you. They call you antisocial, introverted, a homebody, maybe even boring. But psychology tells a completely different story. People who genuinely love being home, not because they're afraid of the world, but because home feeds them, these people operate on a different frequency. Here's what researchers discovered. People who prefer solitude at home consistently score higher in something called autonomy, the psychological need to feel in control of your own life. And when you're home, you are in control. The temperature, the noise, the pace, the people, everything. That's not weakness. That's a person who knows exactly what fills them up. And there's more. Neuroscience shows that introverts and home lovers have a higher baseline of internal stimulation. Their brains are already producing more activity internally. So when the outside world adds more noise, more chaos, and more social demands, it drains them. Going home isn't running away. It's recharging a battery that works differently than everyone else's. Now here's where it gets really fascinating. People who love staying home, they're not doing nothing. They're living an entire life inside themselves that most people never access. Think about it. When you're home alone, what actually happens? Your mind wanders. You think deeply. You process emotions that you couldn't touch when you were surrounded by noise. You have ideas. You notice things. You sit with your own thoughts long enough to actually understand them. Psychologists call this default mode network activation, and it's one of the most powerful mental states a human being can enter. This is the same state where creativity is born, where self-awareness deepens, where some of the most important thinking a person will ever do actually happens. Here's a name you might know, Isaac Newton. When the Great Plague hit England in 1665, universities shut down. Newton was forced home. What did he do with that time alone? He invented calculus. He developed his theory of gravity. He made breakthroughs in optics in under 2 years, alone, at home. History calls it the Annus Mirabilis, the year of wonders. Solitude doesn't slow people down. For certain kinds of minds, it launches them. Let's talk about something nobody discusses openly, that feeling you get when you have plans coming up and you just dread it, not in a panicked way, just this quiet, heavy feeling, like you already know it's going to cost you something. And then when you do go, maybe it's fine, maybe even fun, but the moment you walk back through your front door, you exhale. That exhale, that's not nothing. That's your nervous system telling you the truth. Psychology explains this through the concept of social energy expenditure. For most home lovers, social interaction, even enjoyable interaction, requires active mental processing, reading faces, managing what you say, and keeping up with the energy of a room. It's not scary. It's just work. And your home is the only place where you don't have to perform, even a little bit. You don't have to be anything other than exactly what you are. And for a person who is always quietly, subtly managing themselves in public, that freedom is everything. There are things people who love staying home understand that almost nobody talks about out loud. They understand that their relationship with themselves is one of the most important relationships they have. And that relationship needs time. It needs silence. It needs space. Here's something interesting. Research from the University of Buffalo found that people who are comfortable with solitude are actually less lonely, not more, because they've built an inner world rich enough to keep them company. They don't reach for people out of desperation. They choose people, and that makes every connection they have more intentional. Now, I want to be honest with you because I think you can handle it, because this isn't a video that just tells you what you want to hear. Sometimes, and you know this, loving home too much becomes a wall. There's a difference between choosing solitude and hiding in it. A person who loves home but still reaches out, still moves through the world on their own terms. That's psychological richness. But when home becomes the place you go because the outside world feels too hard to face, when the thought of people makes you anxious, not just tired, when days blur into weeks and you realize you haven't spoken to anyone who knows you, that's when it stops being a strength and starts becoming a cage. The goal is never to force yourself to be someone who loves crowds and chaos. The goal is to make sure your love of home is a choice, not a retreat, because real solitude is powerful. But isolation, quiet, slow isolation, has a way of shrinking your world without you even noticing. Here's what I want you to think about. There are actually different types of people who love staying home, and psychology draws a clear line between them. The first type is the intentional solitude seeker. This person goes out, does life, connects with people, but they protect their home time like it's sacred. They know it's what makes them function, it's deliberate, it's a form of self-knowledge most people never develop. The third type is the deeply creative homebody. Home is their thinking space, their workshop. Every hour at home is producing something: art, writing, ideas, plans. Being home isn't passive for them, it's deeply, quietly active. And the fourth type, the most rare and most interesting, is the philosopher of the everyday. They find entire worlds inside small things. A rainy afternoon, the way light changes at 4 p.m., a cup of coffee. They've mastered the art of noticing, and home is the perfect environment for it. Which one are you? Maybe a mix? Maybe you're still figuring it out. That's the point. Here's what I want to leave you with. In a culture that worships busyness, that treats a packed calendar like a badge of honor, that makes you feel like you're wasting your life if you're not constantly out there, choosing home, choosing yourself, that takes a quiet kind of courage that almost nobody talks about. You are not antisocial, afraid, or behind. You are a person who has discovered something that most people spend their whole lives running too fast to find, that there is an entire universe inside the life you're already living, and you don't have to go anywhere to find it. You just have to be willing to stay. If this made you feel seen, with someone who needs to hear it, and if you want me to go deeper into the psychology of personality, solitude, and how your mind actually works, you know where to find me.